everybody, it's Amy here. The book that I'm going to be talking about today is called A Gentle Reminder, and it's by Bianca Sparacino. I think that's how you say it. Something that's very interesting about her is that she's fascinated by the human condition as well as poetry, which I think is a very great combination to be curious about people and how we feel things and go through them, and also have a really excellent way of putting that into words. And you have many self development books that kind of inspire you, motivate you to get up, start doing something that you maybe hadn't been making any progress on, or into that thing that you were scared of, whether that be a marathon or whether that be some sort of competition. It inspires that, and some self-development books may even do that harshly. This book, however, I find is much like the title. The word gentle is in it, so the title is a good indicator that this book, it's not that it's not inspiring. I think the message is that you can be productive and you can reach your goals and you can do all of that while looking after yourself at the same time. And so when I think of this book, honestly, the picture that comes to mind for me is sitting with your book in the sun on a comfy spot near a window. And yeah, when you just want to feel like you're getting hugged by a book, if that makes sense, that's really the experience that I got from this book. It feels like wisdom that you've probably heard before from people who love you, and it's just a reminder of that. What the author starts off by speaking about is a very strong quote that says, "Chase it. You never know what could be on the other side of your comfort zone." And I really like this. I think I like that it's open-ended, because what may be on the other side of my comfort zone could be extremely and should be extremely different to what could be on the other side of your comfort zone. I think you know what that is for you. For example, if there's a person who really struggles with social gatherings, even just going out to a restaurant could be something that's outside of their comfort zone. And another person who's maybe been through something traumatic in a plane, getting on a plane could be on the other side of their comfort zone. Those are just two random examples that I thought of. And I like that it's very personal to you. Maybe as I've started speaking about some examples, something is coming to mind. What are the sort of things that are outside of your comfort zone? And she gives us, I think you can see now where I'm saying it's not that she's not inspiring, there's inspiration there. There's a bit of motivation, but it's very much at your own terms. And so she says, chase it. Go for it. Do that thing that seems a little bit scary, because you never know what could be on the other side of that. If a person is afraid of social gathering, maybe breathing through that fear and still going there means that they meet a person that becomes a very important person in their life. Maybe getting on that plane for a person where flying was on the other side of the comfort zone, maybe that takes them to a place that changes their life. You never know until you try. And usually on the other side of fear is excitement. It's something that means a lot to you. And so if you can breathe through what is scary, you might unlock that excitement and unlock that passion. So don't let your comfort zone be an area that you stay in. I think it's important to spend some time there, but I think it's important to also take some steps out of it every now and again. The thing that the author speaks about is change, and she uses a really great analogy of a snake shedding its skin. And the reason why I think this is so useful is because the process when a snake sheds its skin is uncomfortable. It knows that it's growing, and so it bears this moment of being uncomfortable, because it's just a step in the process to getting that new skin. And so hopefully this is a sense of comfort in the discomfort if you're in a state of change, or if you will be in a state of change, because it is uncomfortable. When you're shedding a layer of yourself that no longer serves you, it's very uncomfortable. as much as change is inevitable, we as humans really, really struggle with it. And so it's uncomfortable, it feels prickly. And taking a lesson from the snake, breathe through it, do what you need to do, understand that it's a step in the process and it won't last forever. Another thing that the author speaks about is connections and people in your life. We are social beings. We deeply, deeply value and desire connections with other people. And it's not just about connecting with people. I think in this world, the idea of connecting people is it's an idea that applies in so many different ways, and it often dilutes the meaning of connection. The first thing that I think of when I said that is like a LinkedIn connection. You think of networking, you think of Instagram followers, you think of Facebook friends, and we think we are very connected when the numbers and the engagements creep up. And there's a lot of thoughts and study out there that we're actually less connected. And I do think it is subjective on how connected we are. It's really the depth of those connections, though. And that's more what the author is speaking about. She speaks about being careful about who you surround yourself with. It has this old saying of quality over quantity. If you surround yourself with people who speak about their goals and the things that excite them and the things that they're grateful for, you will likely speak about your goals, the things that excite you and the things you are grateful for. I understand this is easier said than done, and people, are so multifaceted. There's a lot to them, and people go through tough times where they may be slightly negative. But if you do have friends who tend to just speak about others or speak about everything that's going wrong in their lives, it will rub off on you. So be aware of who you spend time with and what effect that could have on you. What I'd like to share from this book next are some actual quotes from the author, because as I mentioned, she does have a love for poetry, so naturally the way that she puts things together and expresses things is really beautiful and something that will likely stick in your mind. So I would like to read it to you word for word so that you can experience the beautiful way that she put it together and speak a little bit about it. So one of the things she said that really stuck with me was, you have to be unapologetic in the way that you exist here. You have to believe that your ideas and your hope and your being deserve to take up space. You have to believe that you have purpose. I think that before you do anything of value, before you make any real progress that other people can see, you have to have the discipline and belief in yourself that you can get there, even before you have no real evidence that you can do it. Believing in yourself is a powerful thing, because other people will not always believe in us, but we can. I really, really like this quote, because I think sometimes we wait for people to believe in us. Sometimes we wait for people to tell us that we're good enough before we go ahead and do it. And whilst it is good to get opinions and to listen to advice, I think ultimately you need to believe in yourself first. You need to be unapologetic in who you are and how that comes out, and move forward with that with purpose in a way that feels real to you, and really be your own biggest supporter. If your mind can be a safe space where you support yourself, really anything is possible. The next quote that I really enjoyed is specific to times where things are very tough. Going through difficulty and pain is inevitable. We will go through those difficult times. And the author gives some comfort in that by saying nothing is going to defeat you. Nothing has the capacity to destroy you unless you give it permission to. So keep going. And I feel that this doesn't mean you can't be sad or mad or, really feel something that you've been through. It's not trying to take away from any of that. All that I think the author is getting across here is that it doesn't have to become you. You don't have to let it destroy you. You don't have to let it change you for the worse. You can grow from it. And again, not trying to dilute any sort of trauma here. I think you can take it in depending on your life circumstance. You can take that and make of it what you will, but ultimately you always have the choice on how situations will affect you and how they may change you. And the last quote that I want to share is something that's deeply, deeply important to me and something that I feel very passionate about, which is authenticity. Because I think in this world where I spoke of before, where we are connected to a lot of people and the ways that they live their lives, it can be very confusing to think of how you should be living your life and what is a good life and what are things that are healthy and what are things that are wholesome, and should you spend this much time with family? Should you spend this much time working out? Is that unhealthy? There's just so many different ways that you could be living your life. And so it's very hard to find what is the right thing for you. And I really do believe there is a right way for you. And so the author expands on this by saying, I hope you start to see from a place that lives deep within you that there's no universally correct way to live a life that is solely your own. I think this is very true because we're all different. We all have different capabilities. We all have different experiences. And so the way that you choose to use those and to grow with them, even if it doesn't look like anything anybody has ever shown, if it feels authentic to you and you feel that you are living in alignment and full of purpose, then keep doing it. Keep living in a way that's authentic to you. And even if you're the only person doing it, or even if it looks like a lot of other people, only you know when it's authentic, and when it does feel authentic, don't let anybody else try and tell you it's wrong. And with that, I just do want to give the caveat that the author did as well. When you do start being unapologetically yourself, people will likely judge you. They may even try and tear you down, because if you know you are not living in alignment, it makes you feel very uncomfortable to see somebody else who is living in alignment. And a lot of people misdirect that discomfort and turn it into being mean or tearing somebody down or trying to get them to be more like them. And so that will very likely happen. I think it happens a lot more with people who are uniquely themselves. And it's difficult, and I'm not trying to take away from any difficulty that may lie ahead if you do this. And I just want to say, if there's any comfort that if people are doing this, it may be a sign that you are being very authentic to yourself and you are on somewhat of a good path. And I think it connects very well to some of the other things that I was saying, namely, if you have very deep connections with people who have similar values to you, they will likely support you, and other surface level connections who may try to take away from that, hopefully you can lean on those deeper connections who see what you see and believe in what you believe in. And also, if you are living true to yourself and if your mind is a safe space, it's a refuge when other people are trying to belittle you or use their power in whatever way. And so I hope that you can find peace in that, in yourself, in your own mind, and the maybe few deep connections with people around you who love you for you, value what you value, and want to support you. I really enjoyed this book. As I was saying, it's a gentle reminder. It's just the perfect name for it. As I was reading it, I did feel like I was being spoken to by somebody who loved me and who wanted to give me advice on not only how to succeed in the things that I'm doing, but to be happy and to look after myself and to do so authentically. And I think that's a really beautiful message to put out there, and so eloquently done too. So definitely pick up the book if you like some of those quotes and the messages behind them. There's loads more in the book. And again, connect with me if you're interested on expanding your thinking. I will leave my email below.